So let's talk about, um, let's keep on talking about hands. And I want to show you some details with fingers to start with. So one thing about fingers, you can think about them like this. The tops of the fingers, see the bone that's in the finger is shaped like this. And there's a little bit of a pad, and then the next bone starts. And it's shaped like that. And then again, there's a little bit of a pad, and then the next bone starts, and it's shaped like that. Okay? And into the bones in the palm of your hand, which are also shaped like that. And then we move into the bones of your wrist, right in there. And what happens is there's a little bit of a fat pad that lives in here. And so we get this shape. And what you're seeing there is extra skin, but when the finger bends, what happens is you take this shape like that, and this guy goes this way, and it exposes this, and now that becomes the knuckle. Okay, it's the end of that, and it's got its little tendon. And then the other thing that happens is on the top of the hand, you have the knuckles. You see there's this tendon that comes this way, and here's the knuckle. There's a little tendon that runs over it. And so if you look at it in cross view, if you look at it in cross section, there's this tendon running all the way down the finger. And so what happens to the knuckle is what's normally shaped like this, here's a cross section of a finger. It kind of looks like a piece of bread, kind of like that. But then it's got this tendon right there. See, this is the tendon. I'll fill it in. Like that. Here's the tendon. Okay? So here's the tendon. Right there. Okay. The palm of the hand, here we move into the palm of the hand. There's a very large fat pad right there. And then at the heel of the hand, another big one that goes into the wrist, essentially right there. So another thing to know about the hand is that the top of the hand you see this? It's kind of arched as you come off of these bones for the wrist. The top of the hand, the bones that come through with a little bit of an arch on them. Another thing is that there's a thickness. So it's always important to put this thickness in. And the thickness has another quality to it, which is that if you take your hand and you look at it, notice how if you look at your hand in side view and then you put your hand like this, you see the webbing, and notice how the webbing is more towards the palm of your hand than it is towards the back of your hand. So what that ends up doing is it makes the fingers longer on the back of your hand. They appear longer than they appear on the palm of your hand, okay? And so when you're drawing and you've got a section here that a finger bone is coming out of. There's a webbing, and it goes right there. It goes right there. And it makes it so that it just adds a real feeling of realism to your drawings when you include that, okay? So here's the side plane. I'm drawing in the side plane. And there's the webbing, and if the light is coming this way, you might have shadow on the side plane, and you might have shadow here, and you might have a little bit of light being caught by that web right there. As these bend, it's kind of cool. Here's the shape of the hand on the top, like this. I'm going to turn it into a wedge. Here's the thumb on the side. As the fingers, here's the knuckle right here. And I want to bring the finger forward. And you'll notice this knuckle is like, these knuckles are in this direction. And there's the webbing. And as the fingers bend like this, what you're left with is this really straight looking, you're looking in the finger, it has the space for the tendon, but it has this really squared off quality. The thumb, there's the bone, this bone right here, okay? And then you come over the knuckle, and then you get this big, some people think of the thumb, there's a good description of the thumb as kind of looking like a dog head, like if you did this. Here's the thumbnail. Has this kind of quality of a little bit of a dog head. Kind of see it. And here's the webbing for the thumb. If you want to have your hands be more elegant, or the hands of a younger person, the hands that I'm drawing, all these hands that I'm drawing here are really like gnarly and squared off. My hands are really like squared off. And but if you want a more elegant hand, you can make everything becomes kind of longer and thinner. And you really want to start your hand drawings with a kind of a rough shape. Like you see how this is practically the mitten. One of the things also that's kind of cool on hand drawing is the grouping of the fingers, like in terms of hand gestures. So here's a hand gesture where you take your fingers and you group them together and you just have the pinky sticking out. And you should play with all different kinds of digit groupings. There's some of them are really classical. For instance, a really classic finger grouping is the index finger is out, the two middle fingers are together, and the pinky is out. Okay, so you want to sort of like put down a very simple volume that you start to build the hand off of. So you don't want to kind of start with a mechanical system. What you want to start with is an expressive gestural system. And you can even like starting a stick figure or something like that. Like here's a stick figure, and this guy's gonna be going, oh, you can't see that. He's going to be going like this. Even just a single triangle starts to give you the effect of the emotion. So you really want to be starting like that and like this, and then you go back and you start to apply the amount of information necessary to make your drawing start to tell the things it wants to tell. So you could take a sketch like this and say, now what would need to be changed in order to finish this? And as I'm looking at this, you think to yourself, okay, the lead knuckle right there, down to the knuckle on this finger, which these are all cylinders, right? The fingers are all cylinders. This has 1, 2, 3 sections. There's the knuckle, the lower knuckle, the top knuckles like that, the tops of the fingers like that. Using the nails as a way to show perspective is really slick. So see how this nail is curling that way, but this nail is going to be going to that side of the finger, and that helps a lot. Coming up this way and over. And as you look in your finger here, at your hand here, there's a very specific pattern of overlapping. There's also a big muscle right in here. The middle finger is generally longer. So this hand looks like it's pushing something across the table. Like this is a situation where somebody is they're betting their last poker chip. They're like, it's all I got left in the world, buddy. It's my last one. Okay. Pushing it across the table. Okay,